sure somebody had, let me say this to you. What do you think would happen if the governor gave us a bill? When I say us, I'm talking about Peanut, Dennis, Ted, Sutton. People look at me now, but you don't know my story. Right. You don't know my story. I know you're curious to tell you something. I told you a little bit that people came in my neighborhood. You couldn't come into Lafayette Projects and ask for Peanut or ask for me without getting dealt with. Simple as that. And you know, I figured that the number writers and the drug dealer, they wouldn't tell on me. Because they put the police on me. They were quick to do it. And my sister was always attracted to drug dealers. So, well, I don't say drug dealers now, I say entrepreneurs. Okay? So, if you don't have any questions for Brother Peanut, and listen, he took out his time.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. Peanut King, this is my first time, well, actually about 2 months that I met you, but I always heard of your name. And I know you can give the people out here doing wrong influence to behave themselves because, you know, who you are and your name makes a difference. So people might not know Peanut King, but I think the elderly like us, the grandparents who know Peanut King, that we can, that we can tell our kids and everything, Peanut King was this and that, and he out there and he can mentor and tell y'all that ain't the way it goes. But even though the youth might not know who Peanut King is, but we know who he is, and we should tell the generation, our kids and nephews and stuff, who Peanut King is, and you know that he can tell them that ain't the way it go, because he did all this. He been a millionaires, and this and that, and it led him.
Tell you he made a little something.
Right, a little something. But what I'm saying that you know that ain't the way it go. It'll lead you to death or jail, and everybody know that.
When I talk to young people, what I say to them is that, what do you see when you're looking at me? You mean, so they can say an older guy, been in prison, and you mean, and what I tell them is that what they see, they looking at their future. You mean, because if you continue to do the same things that you're doing, and you're going down that line, I'm one of the lucky ones.
Yeah.
I'm one of the lucky ones.
Bless you.
Yeah.
And I've been through it. You mean, I'm not, I don't boast about money, I don't boast about violence. You mean, I just try to help as much as I can, but if it's necessary, I can get in any area that I need to get in.
And one more question. Is it possible that you can go to schools and mentor to the elementary, the middle schools and high schools? And
I'm talking to the Board of Education right now, and we're putting together a proposal to do that.
He's willing to do that, but we got to first.
thank you.
Go ahead.
My name is Steve.
Can you stand up, sir?
Sure, I know to stand up. I just want to say, man, I'm proud of you, proud of my man right there, and I'm gonna tell you why. I come from the Freddie Gray area. My whole goal is to turn that area around. And just before y'all came out, I was putting some men together. When I found out you and what's your name was home, man, I felt so good about that because I remember where we came from. I got 27 years clean. So since I've been clean, that's all I've been doing was trying to help out recovering addicts, suffering addicts, all of that. So just to see what y'all are doing really took a lot of pressure off me. So I tried to sit back now because my whole goal, I'm going to shut up because I don't know what Dr. Humphrey But my goal is rehabbing houses now. My goal is rehabbing houses now for low to moderate income people, to hire some of our people. So I will be getting with y'all once they sign that goddamn contract. That's right. And the multi-purpose center for inner city youth. No. That's as much as I'm going to share before he says.
No, let me say this to you. Thank you. Let me tell you what my goal is, then we're going to bring Dr. Ted Sutton up. I told you when I go to Dr. Lee that we present a plan Peanut had talked to him, I talked to him. And if he was in the room, anybody know me, I still would say it. You know, Hopkins is the real gangster.
Yeah.
Ask me why.
Yeah.
Ask me why. They take what they want. Hello? Yeah, so if they had the money and we see the problem, they have done enough to our community. So why not pour some money into this man program?
That's right.
And Dr. Ted Sutton, and Sister Christina Flowers, or any one of you who's going to be a part of this trauma team. I'm not playing with this. I was not looking for this job. Sister Flowers will tell you, the first time we tried to kick it back off, we was at Perkins Square Church. And we wanted to do it on West Baltimore, and the West Baltimore preacher was fighting the East Baltimore preacher, so I said, I'm gonna back up. And then I put it together, right? She said the real gas, right? And then the Baltimore Trauma Response Team, I've been doing this before they even thought about a chaplaincy program. So it's nothing new that they invented, right? So we're gonna get you in the right direction. Sister, what's y'all group name?
Women, Wine, and Wisdom.
Come up here, we ain't drinking no wine, but whoever represents.
You know what?
Whoever represents, come on, move quickly. Come on, y'all.
Just one person.
In the middle, I would like to say like what my goal is to rebuild Baltimore in every aspect. If there's any program, organization, or person that needs my help, I'm open to it. You know, I don't care who it is or where it's at.
But they can't give it your number for me.
Yeah, we got company. Yeah, can I have your number?
You know what?
She said they can't.
Yeah. No, he is up. No, that's what I'm saying. Come on. Let's give Peanut a hand. Yeah, you was trying to tell me. Give direction. Give direction. Move expeditiously.
All right, she's perfect. Okay, so what you need to know?
Oh, we want to know what your group is.
Okay, so I am the executive director of Women, Wine, and Wisdom nonprofit organization Sisterhood. Okay. Hello? Okay. I am the executive director of Women, Wine, and Wisdom nonprofit organization, also a sisterhood. We do a lot of give backs. So we do a lot of go where we're needed. If you are hungry, we're coming directly to you. You need a coat, you need socks, gloves, we're coming to you. We just launched our Boots on the Ground effect a week ago, and it'll run until May.
The Baltimore Rescue Mission needs your help.
Okay, so we'll be there. What Boots on the Ground entail is, you hear a lot of rec centers say, we're giving food today, or come to this church and we have coat drive today. But what Boots on the Ground mean is, we're coming to you. Most people who are less fortunate, unfortunate, homeless, cannot get to the rec center. They cannot get to the church. They don't even know that you posted saying, come here. So what we're doing is we're making bags, we're taking gloves, hats, coats, and we're going to the people. We're going to the corner where the panhandlers are. We are going to the parks where they sleep. We went down in the Baltimore Street area. We gave out coats and hats and gloves back in November. So that's what Women, Wine, and Wisdom consists of.
What does that hat mean? What's up with that?
This hat means she has some denim jeans and a hat and she's cute.
Before we start eating, I just want to say something that my executive director, who helps me, I'm the CEO and founder of Women, Wine, and Wisdom. It was a vision I seen, and I felt that togetherness, and if we can do it as a sisterhood, the bond, we can do anything together. But together, collectively. We are wearing shirts today. These shirts basically symbolize us. Basically, it's a broken heart with a bandage over it, with a drop of blood, just saying we want to try to learn how to mend hearts through helping and supporting the Baltimore Trauma Response Team.
So while we eating, will you finish?
Yes.
So,
They on the box, it's all late.
she likes to talk. I get jealous when somebody tries to.
It's all right, Dr. Humphrey. I just wanted to let y'all know that Catering Perfect, which is also our CEO catering company, has catered lunch, and we have pastrami wraps, honey ham, turkey breast, and and chicken breast down here at the end. Complete lunch box for when y'all ready to get out.
So I have committed to this organization. God does all things well. And Rebecca, I believe 2 and 3 say, write the vision and make it plain. Just because this young lady here, Sister Harris, her fiance donated all this stuff, and all of you came, and I'm grateful and I'm happy. But just because she's my cousin, she don't get no slack. I don't get no slack. I'm hard on myself, so I'm hard on everybody. And everybody that knows me, if you tell me you're gonna do something, right? Do it. I had a preacher that used to write bad checks to this painting company, and he asked me, he said, I don't want to get the man in trouble. So I said, I tell you what you do, you go to this church, and when they says any visitor here, you just get up and say, are y'all paying the preacher a nice salary? Because if you weren't, if you're not, you know, he's writing me bad checks. He stopped writing bad checks. You know, sometimes you gotta call people out. I will not go to City Hall with this sister here. If I go, I'm going to penitentiary. But I respect her, I love her, because her true heart is in your face person. Right? When we had a big celebration for Malvin Russell, they came up in there like gangsters. You know, real gangsters. Push past the security and everything. So you gotta be careful who you hang out with. But she gets the job done. Hello? Everybody in here that knows you that I hung out with, right? So we just want you to acknowledge our executive director who keeps me on track, her and separator, Mr. Quiet Man, Mr. Barry White, would you like to come up? Yeah, you come on up.
Thank you so much. I just want to say that I got into the Baltimore Trauma Response Team because I have a passion for helping people.
Yes.
And in order to do this work, you have to have a passion. You have to love people. And you have to really want to help, because otherwise you can't do this work. I'm a victim of trauma myself. My brother was murdered by 3 16-year-olds. They killed him for his sneakers. And I thought I was a very, very angry person and very depressed. I became agoraphobic, which means that you don't want to leave the house. I got past all of those things. It took me years to get past them, and there's certain times that I still, go back there where I'm still thinking. So it's something that you learn how to live with, but you never forget it. And so I'm very, very passionate. I keep using that word because it's in my soul. This person behind me, and I could say that, he's my husband. So, Deputy Chief.
Very quickly, we will be going over the Avenue Code. We will be going over the applications. Someone will be notifying you this week as to your uniforms and how to go about getting the uniforms. Also, I wanted to, after our guests, I just wanted to just take a couple minutes to let you know about the ride-along. There's some little things to look out for when you go on your ride-along. And there'll be future training sessions coming up.
Someone might not want to do it right now.
Well, that's possible too, but there'll be future training sessions coming up as far as mental health programs.
Watch this. How much see the hands want to do right along?
So we'll be getting in touch with
What is a ride along? What is a ride along?
A ride along is you go out with a seasoned police officer to various calls that they make. And so before you go, if we have time,
We gonna have time,
okay. Well, anyway,
but we won't get Dr. Sunday.
right. We don't get. I don't want to take too much time, but also, like I said, we'll be contacting you this week, and Okay, that's what, let me, I don't want to take too much time. So,
We're gonna take, Larry, brother Larry, are you right? We're gonna take a picture. Y'all gonna get them trucks. All right? Yes. No. Okay, come on, they gotta go. Come on, let's get the picture. Come on.
That light on.
We'll get a picture. Come on. Turn it off. What's up? Come on, let's get a picture. Baltimore Trauma Response Team, let's get a picture. So get a picture. Get a picture, my home. I don't like nobody. It's the dice.
Y'all good? Everybody
I got way better. It's too wide.
You gonna stand right here. You can stand right
Yeah,
here.
y'all gotta come in. It's too wide. It's like assembly line.
Okay. We gotta get the pictures.
Come together. Yeah, come together. You can't get everybody.
Come on, in the back. Peanut, get in front. Let's get in front. Can't see what? Now let Peanut get up front.
I got Peanut.
Come on.
I got it.
You got it?
Mm-hmm. As soon as you turn around, I got
Yeah, Peanut.
it. Got you, Peanut. There we go.
Say
Got you,
Lafayette?
man.
No.
Got it.
Yeah.
Small Marlin.
Got about 10 of them.
Say cheese. You got it?
Yeah.
You got it?
Yes, sir.
All right, so. Thank you. So we're gonna eat. Give the direction for the food. Give the direction for the eat now. Okay. Quickly present the everybody. We have the platform.
Right now.
Platform loves sidebars. Sidebars. Go and talk to them, go out the phone. They sell the phones, they want money. You gonna buy a phone? Oh, you gonna buy a phone? Yes, sir. Okay. We had this plaque made for you. You scared? We had this plaque made for you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, on behalf of the Baltimore Trauma Team, we actually presented Major Wells with a humanitarian award presented to Major Wells in appreciation for over 25 years of community service from the Baltimore Trauma Team. He's actually going to be retiring this month, so we're actually presenting him with this plaque of dedication and hard work.
See what he did, right?
Right. I mean, that was just give him a duck hand.
I'm hungry.
Well, one quick, I'll just tell you just a little bit about, what I do and different things, and hopefully we can exchange some information and different things of that nature. One is, yes, I'm Dr. Ted Sutton, but initially I was known as actually Crazy Ted. In fact, if you ever Google Crazy Ted, my face is going to come up. And it's really something, a lot of people knew my godfather, Little Melvin Williams, and I was definitely out there and things. But I'm gonna tell you, hearing Mr. Peanut King, Mr. Maurice, share some of his story, I'm gonna tell you how significant men like this is. And when I say that, when they had the Freddie Gray uprising and things, I was calling for men to go into the community where it was actually going down, and people were scared, to be honest with you. Nobody would go in. I was yelling for people to come down the street because men had called me. As we walked down there, in the streets, I had about 12 men that actually, came out there with me, and we ended up helping save the man's life. And so we actually had the man save his life on North and Fuller. And one of the things that ended up happening though, I said, well, you know what? I said, we gotta go check on Black, we gotta go check on Mel, on my godfather. So as we went down the street, I saw where stores had been burned going down the street. And then it got to his block. And then I saw that the stores were burned across the street. And then they picked up on the next street over from where his area was. And I only say that to say that I saw little Melvin, and he's not like the biggest guy in the world. And he's standing there with his hands in his pocket, just standing there, and they burned everything on the other side of the block and everything before him, his block, and after that block. But they stopped on his block. And he stood out there just by himself. He didn't have no goons, a whole bunch of people. He wasn't out there yelling my name, his name, but just doing that. And people were able to just have that level of respect as far as the streets. And so y'all have to understand there's levels to this thing. There's levels to this thing. So I would listen to somebody like Lil Melvin when I wouldn't listen to some other people who I didn't feel I didn't have that level of respect for. And then where, like Dennis Wise was like a mentor to me and different things of that nature. So that's pretty much, just how that is. Well, actually, so for me, after going through all of this stuff, and what was so crazy is that for me, I ended up going through a lot of things myself. And so I was known, I carried a sawed-off shotgun, I had my own crew in different parts of the area, and all this and that. And so, but the real key piece, is that when I ended up actually losing my friends, my best friend, he got gunned down, I had to hold his brains in while the paramedics came. 2 of my guys received life plus 20 at the age of 19. My girlfriend at the time died of cancer at the age of 23. All of these things happened within a year. And then I actually had one of my guys, they found him in Drew Hill Park, stabbed up in his own car. One of my guys, actually one of my pit bulls, one of my fighters, he got gunned down across the street from Mondawmin and was paralyzed from the neck down. And then I had my lieutenant, one of his son's godfather, got caught with a carload of guns, and to get himself out, he sent the ATF to my house, and my house was raided. And I ended up looking at time for something I didn't do when I had done some other things. And I only share that to say is I ended up actually giving my life to Christ in the Mitchell Courthouse building 10 minutes before I was to get sentenced to 15 years for something I didn't do. And everything changed because I realized that having 2 people that came to court, one was testifying against me and the other one wouldn't even speak to me. I realized that the worst thing that could ever happen to you is for you to fall in love with something that don't love you back.
Come on here.
And I had been in love with something that I put in work for. That when they had beef in other places of the city, they called me for, and I see that at the time it had absolutely no love. And this is coming from a family that my father was an organizer for Dr. King, and my mother was working for Medgar Evers. The same time he was assassinated, and I had an uncle that was a Black Panther out with Bunchy Carter in California, and I was my parents' middle child that hooked up with one of the roughest groups, on the East Coast at one point. And sharing that, I ended up, but God gave me a miracle. I ended up, the state's attorney said this young man shouldn't be allowed to go back into the community. Sharing that, that whole situation turned around actually for me. And they ended up actually, when they dismissed all charges on me, I could not believe it. I had actually chose what jail I was going to go to. But that whole situation changed for me. And sharing that, I ended up with a judge said, I hope I never see you like this. And I said, you'll never see me like this. And I went out and got my bachelor's degree, master's degree, doctorate degree, started transitional housing, independent living program, for young men in and out of foster care, recording studio. I wrote the book Temporarily Insane, another one called From Pain to Power. I became a consultant for the show Law and Order Special Victims Unit. I started going around the country helping the Bloods in California, Crips of Little Rock, Arkansas, Vice Lords, Gangster Disciples in Chicago, Junior Black Mafia, Philadelphia, Ninth Ward Boys in New Orleans, 515 Boys in London, the Johnsons, the Burgers in the UK, the Americans in South Africa, the East Side Boys in Zimbabwe, the Rasta Boys in Montego Bay, the Insane Vice Lords in Jackson, Mississippi. And then I actually had an opportunity to receive the National Dr. Martin Luther King Award for the work that I've been doing around the country and out of the country. and coming with the message that it ain't how you start, it's how you finish. So in sharing that, I had the Rolling Stone magazine ask me, you know, like, when did you stop being Crazy Ted? I said, I never stopped being Crazy Ted. God changed my foundational belief system, so now I know it's worth dying for.
Right.
And so with that being said, I had one thing, and what was so ironic, they said, well, what was the most you've been to? The White House, Congress, you had a chance to meet Obama, meet different things. They said, what was the most significant place you spoke? And I said, well, actually, it was at my high school where my principal had placed a bet I wouldn't make it to 21. And also when my counselor said I shouldn't attempt to go to college, I ended up being the keynote speaker, and they sat Congressman Elijah Cummings next to me to give an award. And he looked at me, and he looked at the program, and he looked at me, and he said, you have to tell me what you've been doing. And I said, yeah, because the last time we were sitting next to each other, this was not the situation, because he was my lawyer for assault and possession with a handgun. And I was now the keynote speaker. The next time we were sitting next to each other, I was the keynote speaker, and my message was, you're not trash, you're just tarnished. So I shared that, and speaking out at the Charles Hickey School on the day before yesterday, I had the opportunity to just let some of these young men know that there is life beyond mistakes. And so we have to really see the level of trauma that's going on with our youth and because that's our future of traumatized adults. And so and the reason I say it like that, because I was really traumatized with seeing different things that I actually saw, and I normalized the violence that was around me, because when people should have been focusing on getting a tuxedo for the prom or trying to take their driving test and different things, you know, we were comparing guns, or what kind of gun you got? Oh, this is a Glock. Now, I don't like the gun. It's all plastic. Well, what about this? The Desert Eagle? Nah, it's got too much kickback. It's got too much recoil. Oh, yeah. Oh, nah, man. I would never use the Tech 9. It doesn't have any accuracy. And the 380, actually, when you shoot it, it gets hot and it jams. And so, but it wasn't a crazy day. It was just Thursday.
Wow.
We normalize because you surround yourself with people that think like you do. And people that think like that normally will not come to organized programs. So you're going to need people. I call some of these guys who have come home from prison, and some of them who are actually in the juvenile, I call them urban specialists. Because they specialize in what people are going through now. And it'll make you more sympathetic and empathetic because you have actually gone through what some of them are going through now. And so in that, I think that, you know, this brother, you know, right here is definitely on to something, because we have been trying to normalize the activity in Baltimore that has not been, where we are dealing with hurt people that are just trying to be functional. We need to get past just being able to still go to work on Monday, or to be able to still get out of that bed. We have to move past that, where we are actually being able to turn that pain into power and channel that, so that we can share with other people that you don't have to fall in the fetal position and just lay there while you're being kicked. We're going to actually turn that pain into power and then channel that, so that we can be able to help and heal our city. Thank you.
Every time I get ready to go in the trenches, I know who to call. Hello? I said, I know who to call. Me and Dr. Ted was all the way in Third Mount, Maryland. Y'all know what Third Mount is? That's where the president's been doing. Secret Service and all that. And he was up there talking to a group of people, and it was long when to bring them out. And I said, you're not going to do my friend like that, right? So far, how y'all like it like that? I'm truly grateful. I don't take nothing for granted. My mother always told me that when somebody do something for you, it's always kind to say thank you. because people don't have to be, brother, I see that tag around your neck, you're a chaplain?
Yeah.
How long you been a chaplain?
Going on 4 years.
Okay. When you go out in the field, and people question you, they ask you, do you work for the police or do you?
Yes, they do.
I'm just curious, because I was one for 37 years.
Yes, they do.
So, next, I asked the panelists to come up. Did I miss anybody? Oh, yes, Sister Flower, I'm sorry. And then Sister Cynthia. And Sister Annie. Sister Christina Flowers is a very interesting person. You know what I said? About 6, 7 years ago, somebody introduced me to her. And I used to ride with her. You have enough food for everybody?
Yeah.
I used to ride with Sister Flowers. And she go rescue homeless people. Hello?
Okay, I remember. I say that.
She rescued homeless people. Her and my good friend, Brother Wallace. They know where to find them. Do some of y'all know where the homeless people hide out at? No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. You think you know. You know where some of the people hide out at, right? Hello? Talk back to me. But the guru, she has a trauma team also. Y'all forgive me, I have my sandwich in my hand, but forgive me. She also has a team. Sister Flowers has always been on my team. But you know, you only fight with people you love. Did you know that? This sister had the audacity to ask me when I went through the civil rights movement that they whipped me. Come on now, I wasn't back in the 30s and the 40s. She said, Dr. Humphrey, you ever been whipped?
My
You traumatized. But very quickly, I never had a desire to be on the radio, but a friend of hers named Kim Trueheart, she said, Dr. Humphrey, you're a master storyteller. She said, I'm gonna introduce you to somebody can get you on their show so you can talk. And this sister let me come on her show. How many years was it, Sister Flower?
Fergus, 2 years together on the show.
No, it was longer than that. How long was it, Brother Wallace?
Maybe 5, I think.
Okay.
No, when you was popular.
But anyway, never charged me a dime. And you know, co-hosts have to pay their weight, currently weight. Am I right, co-host? She never charged me a dime. I got the information out, and then I disappeared for a while. And when I would come off of her show, I would go and Larry the celebrity cab driver, the one that's holding the phone. That's Larry. Let's give him a hand. Real Talk Radio, who had interviewed and wrote P. Diddy, and he knows Kathy. They know all the big wheels. But I say all that I'm grateful because today we have our own radio show, Changing the Narrative, Voice of Encouragement. We come on every Saturday from 4 to 5. The cards are those cards on the table?
Yeah.
I didn't ask for this show. But I told Larry, I don't want to leave off your show. And Larry said, go for it. So now him and Sister Flowers say, you know how people can pump you up. You're the man. You the man.
Go for
no,
it.
I ain't the man. I'm the man working for the man. So Sister Flowers, come on the old way, and then we're going to get to Sister Angie, and then I'm going to let Brother Smith tell you a little bit about what he does at the Helping Baltimore Rescue Mission.
You want hand clap? Yes, definitely give him a hand clap. I am always honored. You know, I call myself, they call me the guru, but I guess when God shuffled me into Baltimore City, he just put me around the right group of people. You know, Dr. Humphrey, and I think one of the first people that I engaged with coming into the city was Malvin Williams. aka Little Melvin. The brother told me one day, I was like, what's going on in this city? Because, you know, as a product of East Baltimore coming up, you know, I ran for Baltimore City because of trauma too. When I saw my 15-year-old brother shot and killed on Monument and Killwood. So that just shifted me. Like, I went out of Baltimore, nothing to do with Baltimore. I went to South Carolina. I went to Hart, and when they started talking about coming back to Baltimore, I said, take me anywhere except the city. So I was in Hartford County, and sometimes when people say I rescue homeless people, I start to learn more and more. I think they rescued me. They rescued me because when I look at my life and everything that God had privileged me with, I always thought I was winning. I just knew I was on a winning team. In Hartford County, my big house, all my fanciness, I felt like a winning person. And I always looked on the outskirts of Baltimore City. So now I tell people all the time, you know, you may not understand the trauma of Baltimore City if you don't reside in Baltimore City. So now I happily live in Baltimore City in a building with 44 ex-homeless people for the past 5 years. So I'm totally traumatized, probably 7 days out of the week. But I learned how to be traumatized with a smile. And he put me around other traumatized people to let me realize even more that they will bite you if they gotta bite you, and they will act up if they gotta act up. But when you talk about God and totally just transitioning your whole vision and everything, when I look at it today, I just realize love. And love comes with a lot of respect. You ain't got to like a person to respect a person. And I say that again, you don't have to like a person to respect a person. As Mr. Melvin also said, R-E-S-P-E-C-T. And when I walked in Baltimore City traumatized, like, what's going on? I got these homeless people. They living outside. And he told me one thing, Ted. He said, get your people. I got 2 rooms upstairs you can have. Don't go messing with the city. Stay out of City Hall and leave them people alone. Well, God had to navigate me a little bit, Dr. Humphrey, because I had to go back in City Hall. Because you got to deal with the root and the core of our social ills. And when I say we were silent earlier, I'm coming up on the rough side of the mountain because I try to adjust my spirit every day to helpless and harassed people. And then I see it in us. So I say my silence is because we don't speak up enough, guys. And we don't unify enough that we can make a dynamic change in this city. I have been experienced and privileged to travel to Nigeria for the past 3 times in the past 6 months. And I told people I ain't never got to open another history book. I don't need to see nothing else historical other than the things that God privileged me to in Nigeria. And when I see what's happening to our people over there, it just reflects me so much what can happen here if we don't rise up and open our mouth. Homelessness to me has just been a seed that God used to really develop everything that He needed to do in me. So I'm grateful today, not only to be on the radio, you know, I got a best friend, you know, he's really a media person. That's your Fox 45, everybody, right there. Y'all need to just wake up, okay? So when you running for Channel 2, you know, Google Larry the Celebrity Cab Driver, because when I first started doing the radio, I went on his show, and I was like, this man is weird. Like, how you adjusting around all these celebrities and Kathy Hughes, and you broke, and you know, he kept telling me all his stories. So I learned that everything that happens in our city, a lot of people can feel hurt and rejected, and they can feel frustrated, and then they start feeling hopeless. So I tell people all the time, like, I ain't got that energy to go back and forth no more, you know, because I realize hurt people hurt people. And I thank God for allowing me to stay humble and living with homeless people. He said, you're going to stay right here. You know, you staying right here in this 2-bedroom apartment with all these people that you have brought in, and they're going to teach you a lot. So they definitely changed my life. So I honor you, sisters. I love you guys, because everybody can't do the type of work when it comes to being a homeless advocate. And I tell everybody, I love to support groups. I love to partner with groups. because we always work to house them. And like right now, we are dealing with encampments.
That's right.
And we go to be the light. I say our sisters and brothers done crawled up in some dark places. From Patapsco to Federal Hill to so many places where their darkness will be dark until God say bring the light. So we've been dealing with the Patapsco encampment for like the past month now. And it's just so amazing that these people been in and out for 15 years. These are God's children. And when God say they are traveling like helpless, harassed, without a shepherd. The day when I became a shepherd, I said I'm a minister in training because I don't get along with too many other ministers. But I got love and respect and reverence for my fellow colleagues.
You have respect for me?
I have respect for you too. I do. And I have respect for you too. So, you want to fight?
Me and this sister, we fight. We fight, come on.
He took the mic.
All the time, but it's love. She always, whenever she called me, and she tried to be smooth about it, she said, you know, I want to get some feathers ruffled. Let me call Larry, let me call the soldiers, let me call Dr. Humphrey.
I didn't think you was beat though. Because I couldn't understand why people was, I want to take him in City Hall and let's do stuff. And when he went in there the first time with me, he said, watch this. And everything he said before we got there happened. But I'm like, we can't settle for that. Like, we got to do better. Because I took him to see one of his favorite people, Mary Pat Clark. He said, Sister Flowers, they don't work like that. I said, yes, it is. They're going to do what I want them to do. We getting these homeless people off the street. And Mary Pat Clark, little as she is, and he's sitting in the room like shaking his head. But that's what mentors do. Like, he went there with me, already telling me, but he still let me go and learn for myself. You know, because I'd have been more bitter with him if he'd have just kept talking, because I felt like he was beat. Like, what's wrong with y'all? Y'all beat? Y'all
What did
slave?
Black Back Club tell you about rocking the boat?
We can't talk
Yes,
about
you
that
did.
in public.
Yes, you did.
They don't rock the boat. You know, and I don't know if no city officials are here, but if they are, it doesn't matter. Like, we have to realize that these individuals have a loyalty to one another that none of us are privileged to be into. I don't care if it's our Mayor Jack Young, I love him all to death. I spend every Wednesday in City Hall. I pray before I go into the Board of Estimates. I touch their chairs and I let them know that a spirit is present. So I deal with them because I have that personality. Everybody can't deal with politicians. When they try to tell me to go run and be the mayor, I said, God's spirit ain't telling me that. But I got about 12 friends, associates that's being the mayor. And they beating up on me every day. Who you gonna vote for? I said, no, that's not my lane. I said, when I get in that thing, I'm gonna vote because it's our right to vote. But I'm gonna connect the dots and I'm gonna be the same person I'm gonna be to all of y'all that's running. I'm gonna say hello. I consider myself a rebel in repentance.
You know, to do this work, you're insane. I used to go down to the morgue and pull the slabs out and see 13, 14-year-old people that look like us on the slab, brains blown out. And my team would tell you, I'm a fun crazy. You can't hang around me because they tell you. Those that know me. Look, she keeps saying, no, they didn't beat me, sister. If they beat me, they might have tried verbally, but you can't break God's spirit. No, I'm not bitter. Yes, sir. Let's let him ask this question. Yes,
I
sir.
had the honor of being on Christina's show, The Greatest Show in the World, and Larry's show, The Greatest Show in the World. How come
Let's keep order now.
How come I haven't been invited on no
So since he put me out there, since it's made a fine day for my friend to come on the radio. Anyone that's a part of this trauma team that wants to come on 1010 WLB, they're changing the narrative. Dr. Ted Sutton has been on, he's going to be back. There's always a seat for my friend. I never knew him as Maurice, so it's hard for me to say Maurice. You know, we don't call each other by our government name. Talk to me. That went over your head. You know what a government name is? What? What? Huh?
Your birthday.
No. Y'all know what 954 Forest Street is? Huh? Anyone of y'all know what 954 Forest Street? There's two places there on Forest Street. There's a big gray place, a big gray house, and it's a place where they shut down. Say it, sir. Tell them, sir. And what's next door? Yes, it is. It's still down the street. Okay. What's that address? No, the address. All of it is 954 to my knowledge. 926.
All of us connected.
Say it again, bro.
All of us connected.
So that's the government name. You looking at me funny, Sister Jordan? When y'all see me on TV, how many of y'all see me on TV? I stay off of TV now. You know why? Yeah. The TV, Dr. Sutton, the news people are tricky. They called, the chief of homicide called me personally and didn't want me to go on the Sean Sue scene. You know why? Because people had told me what happened, but I already knew what happened. So when they put the mic in my face, they said, Dr. Humphrey, do you think he committed suicide? And what was I supposed to say? Oh, no, he didn't commit suicide, they did it. So if I said that, what you think would happen to me? Oh, I ain't have a job doing that. Yeah, because the Lord has my back. Yeah, we don't, one thing about us, we say what needs to be said. A lot of pastors ain't going where these guys go, or where you go. You know why? You know why? They scared. Yes, ma'am. Oh, I know you're not scared. But God didn't give us a spirit of fear, but the power of love and a sound mind. So faith and fear can't occupy the same space. I need